Thank you very much. So I'm going to hand over to Ailing to call for the sedering and intimate any apologies, please.
Good morning, members. If you could confirm your attendance when I call your name, please. Councillor Barton.
Yeah, thanks, Ailing.
Councillor McGee.
Yeah.
Councillor Friel.
I'm here, Eileen, thank you.
Councillor Cowan.
Here.
Councillor Sangster.
Here, thank you.
Councillor Mabin.
Councillor Maven gives his apologies. Thank you.
I have apologies from Councillor Maitland. Councillor Lennox.
Morning, here.
Councillor Crawford. Apologies from Councillor Watts.
I'm here, Eileen.
Councillor Filson.
Yeah.
Councillor Hogg.
Here.
Councillor Kyle. Okay.
Thanks, Ailing. Members, we're going to move on to item 1 on the agenda, and that is any declarations of interest. There's no one in the room, and I don't see anyone indicating online. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to item 2 on the agenda, and that is planning application number 25/0002/S36. And it's an application under Section 36 of the Electricity Act 1989 for a 100 megawatt extension of the Coylton Greener Grid Park at Coylton Greener Grid Park, Coylton by Statkraft UK Limited. And I'm going to hand over to David Wilson to take us through the application.
Thanks, Chair. Morning, members. Purpose of this report is to present a formal consultation under Section 36 of the Electricity Act for consideration of the Planning Committee. The application site is located off the A70 to the north-east of Drongan and west of Ochiltree and adjacent to the Coylton electricity substation. Development comprises the addition of battery units within the consented and currently under construction Coylton Greener Grid Park. The proposed extension is a generating capacity of 100 megawatts and is contained entirely within the footprint of the consented Phase 1 BESS site. Details of the site and the development are set out in paragraphs 3 and 4. Consultation responses to the Council and to the Scottish Government are set out in paragraphs 1 to 27, noting that no consultee has raised any objection, subject to use of appropriate conditions to control various matters. No objections from third parties have been received by the Scottish Government at the time of writing. Just before I move on to some assessment, I'll just share my screen with you and take you through a short presentation. So this is the site location plan, just showing the general context just to the south of the A70. You can see Drongan just to the south west there. It's a more detailed location plan showing the site and the boundary. The access from the A70 Ayr Road in the north, coming down towards the main part of the site, which is in the kind of grey area, which is in the battery platforms in that southern part of the area. The access and the platform are already consented under the Stage 1 planning consent and are largely under construction at the moment that you'll see in some of the forthcoming slides. So this is the proposed site layout plan. It shows the additions of the batteries in the central part of the site. It's shown in a kind of light orange colour, with all the other components being consented under Phase 1. So essentially the Phase 1 was everything you see there with the exception of that orange shaded area, which was just part of hard standing. The applicant always, I think, had the intention of coming along for a Phase 2 element, and Phase 2 was mentioned within the Phase 1 documents, albeit obviously requires to be subject to its own control. This is the landscaping plan. This just shows some more detail of the site, including the Phase 2 works, centrally located and within the existing approved landscape proposals, which have all been agreed under Phase 1. So you see the edges of the site, particularly around about the main compound area, have various planting, and that's all been consented and will be put in place as part of the Phase 1 developments, no matter what happens with Phase 2. Just taking a handful of photos here. This is just the Phase 1 development under construction, and you see the general wider landscape context, particularly towards the south from these. So you can see at the moment various works being undertaken within the main compound area of the site. This is the access road heading down towards the site from the A70. You can see the fencing and so on that's in. It's required to have acoustic fencing there as part of the phase 1 works to ensure that there's no noise impact. So that will be the site boundary. And just a slightly more drawn back photo just showing the wider compound there. So the new battery elements that's being proposed under this application will be within that central compounded area. The final slides are just a kind of photo montage. This is the existing view from just to the side of where the access is now formed. So this is obviously taken before construction commenced. That is the suggested kind of what it's going to look like once construction is complete. So that's at early kind of stage, just after construction will be complete. So you can see the access road just towards the right of that picture, heading down in towards the site. And then you've got the kind of what is essentially a large compound with all the equipment within. And then this is the applicant's suggested appearance, or what they think might be the appearance after around 15 years or so, showing the various planting, which you'll have seen in one of the previous slides there, around about the edges. So the idea is that over time that will mature and become a more soft view of the kind of compound area. So you'll not see the fence or the walls quite the same because there will be this planting round about it. So I'll just stop sharing there. So just turning on to the assessment now, the key matters of interest are set out from paragraphs 29 to 54. In particular, I would note that there's strong in principle support for the development, and it's gained from the development plan and from other national and local policies in respect of renewable energy generation and the positive effects on carbon emissions over the lifetime of the development. The addition of 100 megawatts to the existing site capacity of 50 megawatts is a significant expansion of the generating capacity of the site, and this is achieved with no additional land requirement, and primarily relies on all of the consented infrastructure already approved under phase 1. Landscape and visual impacts are negligible, with the additional batteries located within the heart of the consented phase 1 development and read with that development. It presents no new biodiversity or nature impacts, being located in a consented area of hard standing within phase 1. The biodiversity landscaping benefits secured through phase 1 are considered to reasonably be applicable to this development also, given no new impacts are expected. There are no unacceptable impacts in neighbouring properties or the surrounding environment, with the phase 1 noise mitigation being sufficient to address noise impact from phase 2, confirmed as acceptable with the Council's noise consultant. Traffic and transport impacts are very limited, focused on the battery deliveries and associated works primarily, with the approved access already in place and used during phase 1 construction. Subject to an appropriate restriction details and restoration details and a financial guarantee to secure this, there are no unacceptable impacts on decommissioning and restoration. Members should be aware that phase 1 is a permanent consent with no guarantee, no financial guarantee required. However, this is not consistent with our approach to other BESS sites since consent was granted. Therefore, although it's a phase 2 within the footprint of phase 1, we consider it should be a temporary consent and an appropriate guarantee required to ensure that phase 2 is removed at the correct time or is required by the council. And we've spoken to the applicant about that, and they're fully aware and understand the council's reasons around about that. As noted within the conclusions, paragraphs 55 to 57, the development is considered to be compliant with the development plan overall and maximises output from a site already granted consent to operate as a BESS, and to which most of the infrastructure required will already be in place. Legal and financial risk implications are set out at paragraphs 58, noting that the applicant would be expected to enter into a legal agreement with the council to secure a financial guarantee and to which they are agreeable in principle. The recommendation is set out paragraph 2, which is to object unless the conditions in a legal agreement to the satisfaction of the council are secured. This reflects our revised approach to responding to Section 36 consultations to strengthen our position in discussions with the Scottish Government ahead of any decision they ultimately take. Thanks, and happy to take any questions you might have.
Thanks very much, David. Members, over to yourself. Any questions or points of clarification you need? There's no questions in the room or online. So members, basically recommendations before you in page 3, paragraph 2 of your papers. Are you happy to agree to the recommendations? I think everyone's in agreement, so thank you very much. So that basically concludes today's business. Thanks very much for your attendance. Could I ask IT colleagues to please stop the recording?